Part 1. The mindset of continuous growth, becoming your own engine of progress. There's a version of you that is stronger, sharper, more focused, and more disciplined than you can imagine. That version of you isn't built overnight. It's built daily through habits, discipline, and relentless consistency. The truth is simple. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. You can dream of success all you want, but unless your daily actions align with that dream, it will always stay out of reach. The difference between people who talk about improvement and those who actually change their lives lies in one word: habit. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They control your focus, your productivity, your emotions, your health, and ultimately, your destiny. So if you want to change your life, you don't start with massive goals. You start by changing your system, the small, repeated actions that happen when no one's watching. This is where becoming unstoppable begins. 1. The truth about change: it's not motivation, it's momentum. Most people think they need to feel motivated to start. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect mindset, the perfect plan. But motivation is unreliable. It fades, it fluctuates, and it depends on how you feel. What you actually need is momentum. Momentum doesn't ask if you're in the mood. Momentum builds itself through action. You don't need to feel inspired to start. You just need to start, because once you take that first small step, the second one becomes easier. And before you know it, you're moving forward, not because of motivation, but because of habitual movement. Here's a truth successful people understand deeply. Action leads to motivation, not the other way around. If you want to feel unstoppable, stop waiting for the right feeling. Create it by moving. Momentum doesn't come from thinking about doing something. It comes from doing something every single day. 2. The power of identity. You become what you repeatedly do. Every habit you perform is not just an action. It's a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you wake up early, you're casting a vote for being a disciplined person. When you keep a promise to yourself, you're voting for being reliable. When you choose growth over comfort, you're voting for being unstoppable. Habits shape identity, and identity reinforces habits. The key to long-term change is not willpower, it's alignment. You can't just say, "I want to be confident," and expect change. You have to start acting like the kind of person who is confident, even when you don't feel that way yet, because your actions carve your identity. And the moment your habits match your self-image, you become unstoppable. Repeat this to yourself. I'm not trying to become better. I am becoming better through what I do every day. 3. The 1% rule, the compound effect of tiny wins. Change doesn't come from doing something once in a while. It comes from doing small things consistently over time. If you improve just 1% every day, it might not seem like much, but after a year, that's a 37x improvement. That's the power of compounding, not just in money, but in habits, mindset, and discipline. 1 extra page read, 1 extra rep at the gym, 1 extra hour focused on your craft. It all adds up quietly, invisibly, powerfully. Big transformation isn't sudden. It's subtle. It's the result of hundreds of small choices made with intention. So instead of asking, "How can I change everything?" ask, "What can I do 1% better today?" Because it's not one big move that changes your life. It's a daily commitment to get just a little bit better. For the war with comfort, why growth feels hard. Improvement demands discomfort. And that's exactly why most people never reach their full potential. Because comfort is seductive. Comfort tells you to sleep in, to skip the gym, to relax just for today. But just for today becomes a pattern. And patterns create your life. To grow, you must be willing to walk into discomfort deliberately. Not because you enjoy the pain, but because you respect what it creates. When you choose challenge over comfort, your brain rewires itself. You build mental toughness, emotional resilience, and confidence that can't be shaken. Every time you push through resistance, you teach your mind, "I can do hard things." And that belief, not talent, not luck, is what separates the unstoppable from the ordinary. So stop running from discomfort. Start running with it. Because every challenge you conquer becomes part of the strength that will carry you forward. 5. The myth of motivation, why discipline is freedom. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Discipline is doing what you said you'd do, even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up not because it's easy, but because it's who you are now. And here's the paradox. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become. When you have discipline, you control your habits. When you lack discipline, your habits control you. Freedom doesn't come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from mastering it. Wake up when you said you would. Work when you said you would. Finish what you started. That consistency builds trust. And trust in yourself is a foundation of unstoppable confidence. 6. The power of environment. Setting yourself up to win. Willpower is important, but environment often decides who wins. If your surroundings make it easy to slip into bad habits, your progress will always be fragile. But if you design your environment to support your goals, success becomes automatic. Want to read more? Keep a book on your pillow. Want to eat healthy? Fill your kitchen with real food, not temptation. Want to focus better? Turn off notifications. Clean your space. Remove distractions. Don't rely on motivation when you can rely on design. Make your good habits obvious and your bad habits inconvenient. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Build systems that make success inevitable. 7. The art of showing up, the habit that changes everything. If you only remember one thing from this part, remember this. Just show up. Even on bad days. Even when you're tired. Even when it feels pointless. Because the act of showing up is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Writers who show up to write every day eventually create great work. Athletes who show up to train every day eventually win. Entrepreneurs who show up to build every day eventually succeed. You don't need perfection. You need persistence. Every time you show up, you cast another vote for your future self. And those votes add up until one day you look back and realize that you become unstoppable. 8. Your promise to yourself. Right now, make yourself a promise. You will no longer wait for the right time, the right feeling, or the right circumstances. You will create progress with what you have, where you are, right now. You will show up daily. You will respect your routines. You will choose growth over comfort. Because every single day, through small actions and small victories, you are becoming unstoppable. This is your moment, your awakening, your transformation. Part 2. Building powerful habits. Systems that force you to grow. Success isn't built on luck, talent, or even motivation. It's built on systems. The people who seem unstoppable aren't necessarily stronger or smarter than you. They've simply built structures that make improvement inevitable. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on design. They don't hope for discipline. They create it through consistent systems. In this part, we'll go deep into the science of habits, how they form, how to make them stick, and how to use them to force improvement every single day. 1. The habit loop, how your brain creates patterns. Every habit you have, good or bad, follows a simple pattern known as a habit loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. The cue is the trigger, something that tells your brain to start the behavior. The craving is the motivation, the feeling that makes you want to act. The response is the actual behavior. The reward is the satisfaction that reinforces the habit. Understanding this loop is how you gain control. When you recognize what triggers your actions, you can reprogram them. For example, if your cue is stress and your response is scrolling through your phone, your reward is a momentary escape. To change that, you don't fight the craving. You replace the response. Instead of doom scrolling, try taking a short walk or deep breathing. You're giving your brain a new pattern with the same reward, relief. You don't break bad habits by resisting them. You replace them with better ones that serve the same emotional need. 2. Habit stacking, the shortcut to consistency. The easiest way to build a new habit is to attach it to one you already have. This is called habit stacking. Here's how it works. After I current habit, I will new habit. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 1 minute. After I drink my morning coffee, I will write down my top 3 priorities. After I finish dinner, I will plan my next day. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to stack new habits onto existing ones. This method works because it connects your new behavior to something automatic, something your brain already recognizes as part of your daily rhythm. Before long, your new habits become just as automatic, just as effortless. That's the secret to effortless improvement. Not doing more, but linking better behaviors to what you already do. 3. The 2-minute rule. Start small, win big. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to start too big, too fast. They plan huge workouts, long study sessions, or extreme routines, and within days they quit. The truth? Small wins create big momentum. The 2-minute rule says, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to read more? Read 1 page. Want to start exercising? Do 1 push-up. Want to write daily? Write 1 sentence. It's not about the result. It's about showing up. Once you start, momentum takes over, because it's easier to continue than to begin. The goal of the 2-minute rule isn't to stay small forever. It's to make starting so easy that you can't say no. Over time, those tiny actions grow into massive change. For breaking bad habits, the science of disruption. Just as you can build habits, you can also dismantle them. But breaking bad habits doesn't mean punishing yourself. It means cutting off their fuel source. Here's how. 1. Make it invisible. Remove the cue. If you always snack when you see chips on the counter, stop keeping them visible. Out of sight, out of mind. 2. Make it unattractive. Remind yourself why it hurts you. Associate the habit with long-term pain instead of short-term pleasure. 3. Make it difficult. Add friction. If you want to stop wasting time online, sign out of your social apps every day. Make it harder to access the distraction. 4. Make it unsatisfying. Track your slip-ups. Be honest with yourself. Accountability removes the illusion of just one more time. When you make bad habits inconvenient, they lose their power. And every time you resist one, you strengthen your self-control muscle. 5. The morning ritual, building momentum from the start. Your morning sets the tone for your entire day. If you begin your day with focus and intention, you build momentum that carries through everything else. Here's a simple, powerful morning routine that builds unstoppable energy. 1. Move your body. Exercise wakes up your mind. Even 5 minutes of movement can change your mood. 2. Practice gratitude. Before reaching for your phone, list 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your brain from scarcity to abundance. 3. Visualize success. Close your eyes for a minute and imagine the kind of person you want to be today. Focused, strong, kind, disciplined. 4. Set your top 3 priorities. Decide what really matters. Don't start your day reacting. Start by leading. 5. Protect your focus. Avoid distractions early. The first hour of your day should belong to you, not to notifications or noise. You don't need a complicated ritual. You just need one that puts your mind in control, not chaos. 6. Evening reset, the habit of reflection. Growth doesn't happen in motion. It happens in reflection. At the end of your day, take 5 minutes to pause. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? What can I improve tomorrow? Did I act like the person I want to become? This small ritual builds awareness, and awareness creates change. You can't improve what you don't track. So, write down your habits, your wins, your lessons. Progress becomes visible when you measure it, and what gets measured gets improved. Reflection turns daily experience into daily evolution. 7. The accountability advantage. Why you need systems, not motivation. Motivation fades, but accountability stays. That's why you need systems to hold yourself accountable, not willpower. Some powerful accountability systems include habit trackers. Visual proof of consistency keeps you hooked. Public commitments. Tell someone your goals. It adds pressure and pride. Accountability partners. Surround yourself with people who expect your best. Rewards. Celebrate your wins. Small victories keep momentum alive. Accountability isn't about guilt. It's about structure. When you have a system that keeps you aligned, you stop relying on emotion. You move because your habits move you. You improve because your system demands it. That's the foundation of unstoppable growth. 8. Automation, the final step toward effortless growth. The ultimate goal of habit building is automation. When your habits run automatically, improvement becomes effortless. Think of it like this. You no longer decide to brush your teeth. You just do it. You no longer decide to check your phone. Your brain is already wired for it. Now imagine wiring your brain for growth in the same way. Automate your good habits until they become second nature. Wake up early without resistance. Exercise without debate. Focus without distraction. Learn something every day without effort. At that point, you become your own system. Your brain is working for you, not against you. And when that happens, your improvement becomes inevitable. 9. Your new code of consistency. Let this be your daily mantra. I don't rise to the occasion. I rise to my habits. I am disciplined, consistent, and growing every single day. Small actions create massive transformation. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be progressive, because progress, not perfection, is what builds unstoppable momentum. Part 3. Mastering discipline. Turning daily effort into automatic success. You've built the foundation, the awareness, the small habits, the structure. But now comes the real test. Staying consistent when motivation disappears. Because let's be honest, it's easy to feel inspired for a few days. It's easy to make promises to yourself when everything's going right. But discipline, that's what separates the unstoppable from the average. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. This part is about becoming the kind of person who doesn't rely on feelings. The kind of person who moves forward no matter what. 1. The myth of motivation. Motivation is overrated. It's temporary, emotional, and unreliable. Motivation says, I'll act when I feel ready. Discipline says, I'll act because I said I would. The truth is, you don't need to feel inspired to take action. You just need to start. Action creates motivation. When you take small steps, your brain releases dopamine, a reward chemical, which fuels your desire to keep going. You don't wait for energy. You generate it through momentum. That's why the best performers in the world, athletes, creators, leaders, don't depend on inspiration. They depend on systems, routines, and standards. Their secret isn't that they're more motivated. It's that they've made discipline a habit. 2. The power of identity. Becoming the kind of person who does it anyway. Here's the truth. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. If your identity is someone who always quits, you'll quit. If your identity is someone who always follows through, you'll keep going. To build unstoppable discipline, you must rewrite the story you tell yourself. Stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined. Start saying, I am disciplined. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen that identity. Every time you take consistent action, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to cast more votes for your new self than your old one. That's how transformation happens, one decision at a time. 3. The emotionless execution rule. One of the greatest lessons of success is this. You don't need to feel good to do good work. Discipline means showing up regardless of your mood. You don't wait for the perfect day. You make the day perfect by acting. You don't wait for confidence. You build confidence through action. Ask yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? Then do that. That's what emotionless execution means. Acting on principle, not on feelings. And the truth is, the more you act without emotion, the more emotional stability you gain. Because you start trusting yourself. You know you'll do it, no matter how you feel. That's what makes you unstoppable. 4. Mastering the art of consistency. Consistency is the bridge between goals and results. Anyone can start, few people continue. But if you want lasting success, you need to build consistency into your lifestyle, not treat it like a challenge. Here's how to make it automatic. 1. Make it easy to start. Remove obstacles. Prepare your environment in advance. 2. Keep your streak visible. Use a calendar, app, or notebook to mark every day you show up. The visual proof keeps you accountable. 3. Forgive quickly. If you miss a day, don't spiral. The goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. Never miss twice. That's the real rule. 4. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Fall in love with repetition. Trust that the results will follow. Because every repetition, every effort, compounds. It may not look like progress, but it is progress. 5. The power of just one more. There will be days when you want to give up, when you feel tired, overwhelmed, or uninspired. That's when you whisper the most powerful words in personal growth. Just one more. One more rep. One more page. One more hour. One more try. Just one more turns breakdowns into breakthroughs. You don't need to conquer the mountain today. You just need to take one more step. And when you do that every single day, you realize something incredible. You've already become the kind of person who never stops climbing. 6. The confidence loop, how discipline builds belief. Confidence doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from evidence. Every time you keep your promises, you collect proof that you're capable. You start trusting yourself more. And that trust turns into confidence. That's the confidence loop. Take action. See results. Build belief. Take bigger action. And it continues. A cycle of growth that strengthens your mind and your habits. That's why discipline always comes before confidence. Because belief follows behavior, not the other way around. You can't think your way into confidence. You must act your way there. 7. Mental resistance. Training your mind like a muscle. Discipline isn't physical. It's mental conditioning. Every time you push through resistance, you're rewiring your brain for strength. The first few days are the hardest. That's your mind testing you. It wants comfort, not growth. But here's the secret. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. So when your brain says, stop, you smile and say, not today. You learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where growth lives. That's how you build mental armor, by showing up when it's hardest. And eventually, what once felt impossible becomes effortless. 8. Reprogramming your environment for success. Your environment shapes your behavior more than motivation ever could. If you surround yourself with distractions, you'll drift. If you surround yourself with excellence, you'll rise. So take control of your environment. Design for success. Keep tools for growth visible. Books, journals, workout gear. Remove friction. Make bad habits inconvenient. Create energy zones. A desk for work. A space for rest. A corner for reflection. Audit your circle. Surround yourself with people who challenge, not drain, your growth. When your environment reflects your goals, your habits follow naturally. You don't need more willpower. You need better design. 9. The compound effect. How tiny wins create massive change. Success doesn't come in a single moment. It comes from thousands of small moments stacked together. If you improve by just 1% each day, you'll be 37 times better in a year. That's the power of compounding. Slow, invisible progress that explodes over time. The small choices you make today, to read instead of scroll, to move instead of rest, to plan instead of react, may seem insignificant, but they're shaping your future self. Every day you choose growth, you plant a seed, and one day you'll wake up surrounded by the forest you built, a life designed by consistent effort and relentless self-belief. 10. The warrior's mindset. Never back down. Being unstoppable isn't about winning all the time. It's about refusing to stay down. Every time life knocks you over, you stand up faster. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes a teacher. You stop asking, why me? And you start saying, try me. That's the warrior's mindset. Unbreakable, unshakable, unstoppable. Because real power isn't found in comfort. It's found in resilience. Final part, becoming unstoppable, turning growth into greatness. You've come a long way, from understanding the power of habits, to mastering consistency and discipline, to becoming the kind of person who shows up even when it's hard. Now it's time for the ultimate transformation, turning growth into greatness. Because the goal isn't just to improve every day. It's to become the kind of person who can't stop improving. Unstoppable people aren't born that way. They're built through choices, habits, pain, persistence, and a deep belief that they were made for more. This final part is about stepping fully into that power. It's about living as the highest version of yourself, the one who doesn't wait for permission to grow, the one who leads, inspires, and dominates every challenge. 1. The unstoppable formula: identity, habits, destiny. Every result you see in your life begins with your identity. You don't just act successful. You become the kind of person who lives success every day. Here's the formula: identity, habits, destiny. Your identity shapes your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your habits. Your habits shape your destiny. You can't build a new future with the same mindset that built your past. So the moment you decide, this is who I am now, everything changes. You stop trying and start being. You stop saying, I want to be better, and start saying, I am the kind of person who improves every single day. That's the shift from effort to embodiment. That's what makes you unstoppable. 2. The power of relentless standards. Unstoppable people live by standards, not moods. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, does this align with my standard? Standards are your invisible boundaries, the level below which you refuse to operate. If your standard is excellence, you'll never settle for mediocrity. If your standard is integrity, you'll never compromise your values. If your standard is growth, you'll never stay stagnant. Raise your standards, and your life will rise to meet them. Every day, hold yourself to your best, not to impress others, but because you deserve a life that comes from discipline and consistency. 3. The growth mindset, turning failure into fuel. Here's the truth. The people who grow the most are the ones who fail the most, but they see failure differently. They don't see it as a sign to stop. They see it as feedback. Every mistake teaches them something. Every setback sharpens their skill. Every obstacle becomes fuel for their evolution. Unstoppable people know that success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about learning faster than everyone else. They ask, what is this teaching me? How can I use this? What's the lesson hidden in this pain? That mindset makes them dangerous, because nothing can break a person who uses everything to grow. 4. The energy equation, protecting your inner power. If you want to improve every day, you must protect your most valuable resource, your energy. Your energy is more important than your time, because without energy, time is useless. To protect your energy, you must be ruthless about 3 things. 1. Your focus. What you give attention to grows. Cut out distractions, drama, and negativity. 2. Your circle. Surround yourself with people who challenge your limits, not your peace. You can't fly with people who crawl. 3. Your habits. Fuel your body. Feed your mind. Rest your spirit. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and gratitude aren't optional. They're your foundation. Energy is everything. Protect it, and you'll perform like never before. 5. Living with intention, the 1% rule. Every day is a chance to move one step closer to the life you want. You don't need to change everything. You just need to improve by 1% daily. That's the 1% rule. Small, consistent improvements that compound into greatness. Ask yourself each morning, what's one small thing I can do today to become better than yesterday? Maybe it's reading 1 page. Maybe it's going for a short run. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you. These small steps may seem insignificant, but one day you'll look back and realize they built the life you were dreaming of. Because massive success is just small success, repeated endlessly. 6. The mirror principle, becoming your own competition. There's only one person you need to compete with, the person you were yesterday. Comparison steals joy, energy, and focus. You can't grow if you're always looking sideways. Instead, look in the mirror and ask, am I improving? Am I becoming stronger, wiser, more focused? Be your own rival. Outwork your past self. Outgrow your old habits. Outshine your old limits. Because when you stop competing with others and start competing with yourself, you win every single day. 7. The unstoppable state, flow, focus, and freedom. When your habits, purpose, and mindset align, you enter a state called flow. Flow is when you're fully absorbed in what you're doing. Time disappears. Distractions fade. You're not pushing, you're pulled forward. You've experienced it before. That zone where everything just clicks. To live in that state more often. Do what challenges you but doesn't overwhelm you. Focus on progress, not perfection. Eliminate multitasking, one focus, one mission. Flow isn't luck, it's alignment. And when you live in that alignment, improvement becomes effortless. 8. The legacy mindset, why you must keep going. At some point, your habits won't just be about you. They'll be about everyone watching you. Your family, your friends, your community, your future self. Because whether you realize it or not, you're setting an example every single day. Someone out there is watching how you handle pressure, how you keep going when it's hard, how you refuse to quit. You are someone's inspiration, maybe even someone's reason to keep going. That's why you must keep building, keep showing up, keep improving, because your consistency will echo far beyond your own life. That's your legacy. 9. Becoming unstoppable, the final transformation. Being unstoppable isn't about never failing. It's about never stopping. It's a mindset that says, I might fall, but I'll rise stronger. I might slow down, but I'll never quit. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to progress. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. That's what unstoppable really means. 10. Your final affirmations. Take a deep breath. Feel the strength inside you, the discipline you've built, the habits you've formed, the fire you've reignited. Now, repeat these words. I am unstoppable. Every day, I grow stronger, wiser, and more focused. I am disciplined, consistent, and confident. My habits define my destiny, and I choose greatness. Nothing can stop me, because I never stop improving. Smile, because from this moment on, you are not the same person who started this journey. You are a living, breathing example of progress and motion. You are unstoppable, you. Fire. Final message. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to keep moving, keep learning, and keep showing up, because one day, your habits will create a life that looks like magic to everyone else. But you'll know it wasn't magic at all. It was discipline. It was consistency. It was you. So get up every day with one mission. Improve, just a little, every single day. And soon you'll realize you've built a life that no force can shake. You become unstoppable.